The world has enough superheroes. Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here. So it is time for a special movie review today for a Marvel movie, and this is for a film released in 2018, and it's also as well a film to feature one of the adversaries of my favourite superhero of all time, Spider-Man. And this film, of course, as you can probably get by the title and the thumbnail, is of course none other than 2018's Venom. So, now when it comes, of course, to this film then, so how was this film made? So, after Venom made his first appearance in the film Spider-Man 3 from 2007, 11 years before this film came out, Sony attempted to develop a spin-off film based on the character, but it did not move forward due to issues with Sony's ongoing Spider-Man franchise. In March 2016, work began on a new version that would start a new shared universe featuring the non-Spider-Man characters that the studio possessed film rights to. Sony also intended for Venom to share the world of Marvel Cinematic Universe's Spider-Man Homecoming, but ultimately distance the film from Spider-Man. And then in March 2017, so Jeff Pinkner, Scott Rosenberg and Kelly Marcel were of course hired to do a screenplay for this movie. They were set to write it, and Ruben Fleischer was hired to direct the movie, and Tom Hardy was cast as Eddie Brock / Venom in May. Filming took place from October 2017 to January 2018 in Atlanta, New York City and San Francisco. The film was primarily inspired by the comic book miniseries Venom, Lethal Predator from 1993 and the story arc Planet of the Symbiotes from 1995. And the film was composed by Ludwig Göransson for the second time he did a Marvel film after Black Panther in the same year. The film premiered at the Regency Village Theatre on October 1st, 2018, and was theatrically released in the United States on October 5th. Despite receiving negative reviews from critics, the film became the 7th highest grossing film of 2018, with over $856 million worldwide, and it set several box office records. When it comes to my reaction to this film, guys, so in the week of this film released in the cinemas in the UK, I went to go and see this film, and it was actually a pretty good experience because I went to see it with two friends, and I've got to say that I had a really fun time watching this film because compared to the negative reviews that the film got, I had a really fun time watching this at the cinema, and I personally consider it to be an underrated comic book movie, which I think deserves a lot more love. And it's something that I really do enjoy watching. So, what is the film about? So in the film, struggling journalist Eddie Brock gains superpowers after becoming the host of an alien symbiote, Venom, whose species plans to invade Earth. So, when it comes to what I think is great about this film then, so I think it has a really great cast of actors. So the main character himself, Venom, and Eddie Brock, is played by Tom Hardy. And Tom Hardy is one of my favourite actors of all time. I consider him to be an absolutely phenomenal actor. And I consider Venom, Eddie Brock, to be my all-time favourite role of his. And to this day, he remains my favourite Venom of all time. And I definitely really loved him in this movie as the character. I think he really nailed the role of both personalities. And I must say, considering he's British, he did a very convincing American accent for Eddie Brock, I must say. Very convincing, very impressive, great actor. And I think he was also a massive improvement over the abysmal portrayal of Venom in Spider-Man 3, because as much as I like Spider-Man 3, Venom is my main issue with that movie, because I feel that movie, in my opinion, butchered the Venom character, whereas in this film, I think he was much better. And personally, I don't mind Venom not having the spider symbol on him just yet, because in this universe, of course, he's not met Spider-Man yet, so of course that's why. But when it comes to Venom, though, I definitely really love Tom Hardy's performance, and I think as for Venom symbiote, he also did a really great job providing the voice for the character. And I must also though give honourable mention to Brad Venable, may he rest in peace, because he also provided some lines of dialogue for the symbiote voice, as well as with Tom Hardy blended together. And I think the voices definitely fit really well, in my opinion. And And the voice was just perfect for a character right there, because when I hear the voice of Venom, I'm expecting a deep, monstrous voice, really. And definitely really great to listen to. And they also got character right too, because compared to the human-sized version of Venom from Spider-Man 3, I love how he was also big and muscular too in this film, which was great to see. And Eddie Brock, of course, had a pretty good build as well, I must say too, thanks to Tom Hardy, of course. And in addition as well, the character also referred to himself as we, because when you do Venom, there's of course two entities. One of them is the host and the symbiote, so we, basically. That's how it works. So I definitely think that they really redeemed the character in this film, and I definitely really love Tom Hardy's performance in this, and I must also say that Eddie Brock and Venom had pretty good chemistry together as well, I must say. It was actually pretty entertaining and funny, I might say too. Just a lot of fun, really. Just so much fun to see. They had really good chemistry. It was actually pretty funny, especially considering it's actually the same actor talking to himself, which is just brilliant in my opinion. And also as well, when it comes of course to a film's villain, the main villain of this film, of course, is Carlton Drake, who of course becomes the host for the symbiote character Riot. And he's cosplayed by Riz Ahmed, and for what it is worth, I think Riz Ahmed was entertaining as both Carlton and the voice of Riot, because he does voice Riot, and I think he did a very good job playing him. Although, of course, I do personally prefer Carnage strongly, but I still think that he was good with what he was given as Riot, in my opinion, and Riot was definitely as well a deadly character, I must say, as well, absolutely. And also as well, when it comes to Riot in particular, when it comes to watching this film at the cinema, I remember getting a jump scare when Riot first appeared, when Carlton interrogating Eddie for where Venom is, and then he appears out of nowhere saying, "Where is he?" Like, that was actually pretty freaky, I must say. And the rest of the cast also do very good jobs in this as well, I must say too, and they're given as well. I also think Michelle Williams and Reed Scott were also good in this too, as well as Anne Weying, who is Eddie's ex-fiancée. And of course, Reed Scott plays Dr. Dan Lewis, who is her partner, who's a surgeon. And I think they were both good with their performances, but we'll go on to my bad qualities I do with those characters as well. Because personally, I think they're much better in the sequel than in this film. And other good things to almost also say as well is when it comes to supporting cast, I definitely really love the addition of Miss Is Chen in this, who is of course played by Peggy Liu, and I definitely really loved her scenes in this where she interacts with Eddie. Just a very likeable character, just really fun to see in this. And there's many other good performances in this too as well. I did also as well like the addition as well of Jenny Slate as the Life Foundation scientist Dora Scurf, and we even as well got as well a brief scene where Riot of course bonds with John James, and who's played by Chris O'Hara, which was pretty cool. And so as well as that too, as well, the story, in my opinion, is also really good too, because considering that this film does not have Spider-Man, of course, it's a Venom movie. I think he did a very good job, you know, bringing Venom's origin story onto it without the addition of Spider-Man. So, I definitely really think that this film was a lot of fun, and also, well, of course, despite, of course, being rated 15 for me in the UK, it does have some pretty dark moments too, I must say. Like, sometimes the bonding scenes can go a bit dark, and the kills, in my opinion, can also go a bit dark as well, of course. But then again, it's Venom, so what can I expect? Of course, it's going to be dark, right? And I also as well think that Ludwig Göransson's music was also great to listen to as well, I must say too. Definitely really favoured with the tone of a Venom film, I must say, absolutely, which was really good to listen to. And also as well, when it comes to other great things about a movie, you know, I said, of course, there's some funny moments in this. Well, I think, in my opinion, the funniest moments in this film, when it comes to Eddie and Venom's chemistry they have, which is just so much fun to listen to, is most definitely, of course, the elevator scene. And if you guys have seen the film, you know what I'm talking about, right? Of course, where Eddie's supposed to jump from a skyscraper, but instead takes the elevator instead, and Venom called him something like... When I saw this at the cinema, me and my friends and the entire theatre just died of laughter. Like, that was just brilliant in my opinion, very well done. I just really love that scene. Definitely the part where I laughed at the most. Yeah, that was brilliant. And the fight scenes between Venom and Riot, for what they're worth, are also good too as well, I must say, too. I definitely really like that. And Also as well, we also got an amazing cameo appearance by the legendary Stan Lee, may he rest in peace, where he appears as a dog walker who talks to Eddie, saying to not give up on Annie. And it also seems he also knows that Eddie has a symbiote, of course, because he says either of you. And sadly as well, that was Stan's final Marvel film cameo appearance before he died, unfortunately, of course, a month later. So yeah, rest in peace, Stan Lee. Thank you so much for everything you've done for Marvel, Stan. You'll always be an absolute legend. Thank you for co-creating all these wonderful characters and inspiring billions of people around the world. Thank you, Stan. Yeah, it's definitely really sad we lost Stan a month after his film came out, but this cameo appearance was definitely really great to see, though. Yeah, Stan will always be an absolute legend. And as well as that, we also as well got a really exciting mid-credit scene, and it's this mid-credit scene that made me have my opinion of liking this film solidified. And that's, of course, where Eddie goes to interview Cletus Cassidy, who is played by the legendary Woody Harrelson. Woody Harrelson is a great actor, and I must say he was perfectly cast, in my opinion, as Cletus Cassidy. And seeing him in that scene, of course, getting interviewed, and where he says, when I get out of here, there's going to be carnage. Like, oh, that was just so exciting. And yeah, Woody was just an absolutely perfect casting, and in the sequel, he really nailed it as Carnage, and that was just a brilliant casting right there. So they definitely did a really great job casting Woody Harrelson for that role, and it made me really hyped for what was going to come next. So that's my opinion on the Venom film, guys. I think it's a really underrated movie. However, there are some bad qualities I do have with this film, but which I must say. So when it comes to what I think of Anne and Dan Lewis in this film, while I think Michelle Williams and Reed Scott did a good job with what they were given as the characters, I personally found their characters to be quite annoying in this film, in my opinion. I just didn't really like them that much, to be honest. So that's why personally I prefer them more in the sequel, because they actually helped Eddie and Venom, which I definitely did like. So I'm glad in the sequel they became more likable and helped Eddie. We did also get a brief scene in this film where Anne does become She-Venom temporarily. So that was something, I guess, which was pretty cool. An Easter egg foreshadowing, of course, the character of She-Venom. But I do wish that she was more likable in the first half of the film, because I feel in the first half of the film in particular, she was annoying, I must say. And when it comes to the first half of the film in particular, I do also feel that it does drag on a little bit and gets a little bit boring in some cases too, I must say, because aside from the annoying characters that I just mentioned, I feel the pacing is a little bit slow. So that's why I can understand why I got negative reviews at first, but I think once the bonding happens and we see Venom, I think it just becomes awesome in my opinion. So I do feel that the first hour or so of the film is a little bit slow, but once the bonding happens, of course, it's brilliant in my opinion, and just a lot of fun. But I do feel it does have a bit of a boring start though. But other than that, it's a good film though. And also as well, probably my biggest nitpick with this film though, of course, as you guys will probably have guessed, is I personally hated how there was not a single appearance or a mention of Spider-Man in this film, and make how he doesn't even exist. So I was a bit disappointed that they didn't even acknowledge Spider-Man in this, or not even acknowledge anything, similar to him, really, just no mention of my first superhero at all, really. Like how can you do a Venom film without Spider-Man? Doesn't really make any sense. So that's why I'm so glad the sequel acknowledged Spider-Man, of course, in its credit scenes, but still, I wish this film at least had something. And because this was confirmed to be a different universe to the MCU, I was hoping that the Spider-Man of this universe would be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, because that could have been a chance for his character to return, of course, in a new set of films, basically, alongside, of course, the MCU's Spider-Man at the time. So would have been really cool to see Andrew Garfield reprise his role as the Spider-Man of this universe, where it's revealed that his universe is this one, really. But unfortunately, we didn't get that, did, which was a bit of a shame. But thankfully, of course, we got Andrew in No Way Home, though, of course. And I hope he gets his third film. Just give him that third Amazing Spider-Man film already, please. But other than that, though, I still think this film is really underrated, and in my opinion, it deserves more love. And of course, we did of course get a sequel at the Carnage, which I do prefer over this film for several reasons. I've already mentioned, of course, that I prefer Carnage when it comes to the villains, and I also, as well, of course, think Anne and Dan were more likable in the sequel than in this film too, I must say, as well. And I definitely think, of course, that film had lots of improvements to as well in terms of a lot of the symbiotes, such as, of course, the weakness being the sound, because I feel that this film didn't really touch upon the sound weakness thing as much as the sequel did, really. There's like maybe a couple of scenes where the sound is shown affecting the symbiote, and there's also a deleted scene as well, of course, but I do wish that they elaborated more on that, really. But other than that, though, I think Venom from 2018 is a very underrated film, and definitely a lot of fun to watch. So if you guys want to see a fun Venom film, I definitely would recommend this film. So that's my thoughts on Venom from 2018, guys. In my opinion, a very underrated comic book movie. So if I was to give this film a score out of 10, guys, well, to this day, after rewatching it last night in preparation for this review, I'd probably give it a very solid score of 7 out of 10, because, like I said, I think it's very underrated. It's just supposed by qualities I mentioned, being, of course, unlikable characters, a slow pace of a start, and also no Spider-Man, but other than that, it's a good movie, so I definitely really enjoy it. So, anyway, guys, this is me doing my review for Venom from 2018. So, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to leave in the comments what you guys think of Venom from 2018. If you see it in the little comments below what you think. Also, be sure to join Team Prime by pressing subscribe and videos to come in the future. And we are Venom.